Hi traders, this is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for the 19th of June. Now, as we come into the Asian session, the markets have been pretty quiet, okay, across the board. If anything, they lack significant momentum. Now, what we've just seen in the last 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, Trump has come out with a whole range of, usual tit-for-tat, childish sort of remarks, but he's saying if China increases tariffs again on the US, he's going to raise it from the 50 billion that's out there at the moment to another 200 billion on the Chinese goods, right? So, and then he's already asked the US Trade Representative to identify 200 billion Chinese goods for additional tariffs. So that's where we are. This is the first little escalation of the whole tit-for-tat process. As you can see, just on the US dollar, nothing's really impacted at this point. Dollar yen has just drifted off about 20, 25 points. Aussie and Kiwi, you'd think those two pairs would be the most impacted by such, or China getting hit with these tariffs. Aussie's off about 5 or 10 points. There's a little bit of a knee jerk, but the other majors haven't moved yet. Now, if I just come across here, I can give you a bit of a look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's just get it across here. Okay, so just having a look here, you can see basically where the major impact has been, just on those remarks. If anything, before this, I was just going to say how muted the current market situation is. Dollar yen was sitting up around 50, just minding its own business. We've got that nice short-term trend line and cloud, and that news was enough to push it through the cloud and probably keep dollar yen under pressure at this point. The Nikkei is due to open up 30 points in the cash, plus 30. So we'll watch that as we go through the session. Now, that's if I just come back to that page, I want to explain to you what I'm talking about. With the Nikkei itself, it has a direct relationship with dollar yen. So if you're looking at the Nikkei futures over here, plus 30. Now, if the Nikkei starts to roll over and it opens up in about 9 minutes, 8 minutes, then we should start to see further downside pressure in dollar yen, right? If it's above 30 and holds above 30, well then you would expect dollar yen to probably come back to 110.40. So the Asian or Japanese equity market is one area where you will see the move probably first, okay? Now, just coming back to the other major pairs, just having a look across the board, as I said, there's been a little bit of a weird activity across over the course of the sessions. Now, Metastock are experiencing some missing data. They are working on that at the moment. As you can see, if you have got a Metastock product, then all your charts will be missing a bit of data there. Now, that's always a little bit of a concern when you're trading. Funnily enough, I expect the data to be filled there. I don't think it's a matter of dragging this across. So anyway, they'll get back to us with an update. I'm sure all the banks are screaming at them with give us some updates, and I'm sure they're onto it. Now, Euro slowly making its way back. Now, this is why we didn't move that previous support trend line. That's going to act as resistance now and give us a bit of a level up around 117, sort of 15. Aussie also around 74.40. Kiwi just tweaking around this support line at around 69.20. We've got resistance up here around 70, the figure. Dollar yen, well, this is probably the major opportunity of the day. Now, I think it's a bit of a stop-loss run, but the way Trump's playing this, it does lead into a potential bit more of a drift lower in dollar yen. Definitely the short-term long positions have been stopped out. Dollar CAD starting to trade sideways, but check out the movements in oil here. Oil was down to the 63 bucks. It's now rallied back to, that's the green bars there, back to 65.60. So you'd expect dollar CAD to come back. I mean, it's all over the place. Technically, it looks like it's going higher, but then fundamentally, all the other components, NAFTA, the situations with NAFTA or the uncertainty around NAFTA, that's working against the oil price. So it's getting pulled and pushed all over the place. It's a pretty tricky situation. Now, if we just come back to, I just want to give you a look at the major news out there at the moment. And as you can see, let me just change the screens. You come back to the major news pages, and you start to see what the news services are up against. When it's a quiet market, they've got to try and generate some sort of news to get things moving. Trade worries stoke safety demand for yen. Now, dollar yen hadn't even moved. The sterling, wary of the Bank of England vote. Canada hits 1-year low amid rising trade tensions. Well, it's all a little bit skew if, okay? And that's why when you are looking at the news, see how long ago it was, see what economic data is coming out, and that's where you can really start to piece together the moves. So looking at where the major opportunities are today, if you're just having a look across the board, now this is, as I said, this is one of those weeks where trading really picks up on Thursday onwards, okay? You're really looking at down here onwards. This is where it's going to get really busy. But today we've got the RBA monetary policy minutes, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so don't hold your breath. The markets at the moment, well, it's pretty calm, right? We've got some good levels, but the currencies are in the middle of nowhere and they lack momentum. Now, that's not a bad situation to be trading, but it's not ideal. That's why we've got a little bit of cloud over the sun there. So what do we do today? Well, basically, just keep an eye on your fries. I mean, if anything, as I said, dollar yen, this latest round of yapping from Trump is definitely going to provide a bit of a spark, as I said, potentially to the Asian session. Dollar yen is drifting lower, so I would expect that to potentially hit the markets. Now, I'll be watching very closely here the open of the Nikkei, see if that goes into the red. If the equities turn into red, then it's a risk-off situation, and I would expect the Aussie and Kiwi to sort of come off, as well as probably see dollar yen continue to the downside as well. So dollar yen back down around 10 here at the moment. I would expect potentially Kiwi to drift lower and the Aussie also. Don't forget the Aussie RBA minutes out in about 2.5 hours. I don't expect anything out of the RBA, whilst you can start to see Euro and Sterling, the way they've been sort of operating lately. Aussie and Kiwi come off, these things go up. So dollar CAD sideways, pressure on the downside, dollar yen just at this point. There's no major levels here to really sink your teeth into, so I'm not going to be, really getting super aggressive. But the main opportunity here around that sort of trend line on the bottom of the cloud here was pretty nice. And if you hadn't got that entry, which I was in the process of uploading that order, I was a little bit pissed off as soon as this news came out because it pushed it down through that straight away and I missed the entry. If anything, looking to get short back towards 110.40. All right, and that's pretty much where we are. As you can see on my charts, I have left a number of the previous support lines on Euro and in Sterling because they will act as resistance now on the way back up. That gives us some levels to work with. If anything, on the Aussie dollar there as well, we've got the formation of the new resistance trend line at the top. I like to look at that at 75.60. If anything, there's a bit of a short-term one here, but it's sort of right close to the market. It comes in around 74.40. It's probably worth keeping an eye on that as well. Gives us some potential entry levels, I should say. Dollar yen, just having a look at dollar yen. I'll just clear the screens here. For those traders who are familiar with traders for traders, you'll understand, what a good opportunity that the one at the top here was. A real nice Ichiban setup. The next sort of support line is just above 110. So if we start to get a bit of a move on there, then a break of 110, we'll see it drift into no man's land. And it's from there, it could sort of really sort of just wash around. Notice I've got the US 10 years, the orange bars here overlaid, and they have just been drifting lower. Now, previously over here, see how closely these, the US 10 years and dollar yen were sort of correlating. Now, there's a potential here for that correlation to come back into play. It's yet to be seen, but that's if the US 10 years are heading lower, that may be a signal that dollar yen is going to catch up with it. But overall, bear in mind also that this most recent move is a Trump generated event, just off his tit for tat, childish, whatever you want to call it, crazy remarks that he's going to increase the tariffs on China. If anything, that's going to be a major impact on Australia and New Zealand. I don't think there's too much to it. I think it's more wind than anything else, and we'll see how that plays out as we go forward. All right, guys, so not a lot on just at the moment. Just remain patient. If you've missed that dollar yen like I just have, well then I can't see a hell of a lot on the board at the moment. So just remain calm and give the market some space. All righty, we'll catch you later on. Cheerio.